we're going to start a new series that's going to be a 3-parter that's going to build on the previous that we just walked through about building your own, creating your own, articulating your own framework. Now, let me just review what that is, because in this episode, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. I really just call it the ABCs of how to get paid for what you know. That is what we do on the Amplify site. We give you the tools, the training, the content, the coaching, the community, the courses, all the things that really equip you, empower you, encourage you to get paid for your expertise. Now, A, B, C, D. Okay, just remember these. A, you've got to architect, or you could even say articulate. That just means to say. You've got to articulate, architect your framework. The framework is the problem you solve, the potential you lead your person towards, your audience towards. It's the path they take to get there. It is the progress points along the way. In fact, we just did an entire mini-series, a 3-parter on that, and it rolls right into this one, because the A, B, C, D, the A of getting paid for what you know, we're going to roll right into that. Articulate your framework. We're about to talk about it. B, build your home base. That's going to come in the next episode. C, communicate regularly. And then D, deliver results for dollars. That is it. That is the ABCDs. I know we usually say ABCs, ABCD of how to get paid for what you know. So before you start listening, look down at the show notes. I have some next best steps for you. I would love for you to continue this conversation, to take it farther, to take advantage of some of the tools and training that are available for you. Some of those are paid, some of those are absolutely free. You can choose your next best step there. Here's the training. We're going to start off with A, the ABCs of getting paid for what you know. In this module, we want to talk about how to get paid for what you know. This is the 4-step process to earn an income by sharing the information and the expertise that you have. Now, in this module, I'm going to go ahead and give you a heads up. Point number 1 that we're about to get into is going to really spend a little bit of time talking about the importance of architecting and then articulating your framework. So I would say right now, that's step 1. If you have not, and I go back and forth on this, what order should you watch these in? Should you watch this one first, or should you go to the how to architect your framework one first? If you haven't watched that, I think that module makes this one make a lot more sense. But I also realize that, hey, if you're here, go through this, just realize that when we skip through that part A and talk about architecting your framework, and then of course you got to articulate it. When we go through that, there is a deeper dive on that tells you exactly how to do it. So in this module, it's going to have a little bit of a cursory overview. It's going to tell you exactly how to do it. Really, a lot of these modules start building upon each other, interacting with each other, and supplementing each other. And so that's what's going to occur here. Here's the outcome of this training. After watching this or listening, you will understand the 4-step blueprint to promote your core message. Not every message you have, but the core component, what you're known for. You will know how to serve a growing audience at a higher level, and you'll be able to multiply your profits. Now, that's going to be true whether you are in a for-profit industry or you are in a nonprofit industry. If you're in a nonprofit, the difference is you're still generating revenue. You still need to grow it and run it very much like a business. It's just when you are running a nonprofit, you think about the profit doesn't go into a person's pocketbook. You return that and resupply that to keep gas in the tank, fuel on the fire to continue doing more of the life-changing ministry that you're doing. And so everything else really is the same. So don't get caught up. Well, does this work for nonprofits or is this just for a for-profit only? Either way, the outcome is the same. Here's the outline. The outline for the training follows an ABCD format, not a 1, 2, 3 format. Point A is you need to architect your framework. That is the first step. And I'll just say, let me type that in right here, then be able to articulate it. You've got to be able to share it. B, build your home base. That's going to be your website. C, communicate regularly. We'll talk about what that looks like and where. D, deliver results with your core products and programs. And then at the end of this, we'll talk about how do you generate revenue. Again, this is going to follow an ABCD format. A, architect your framework. I like the graphic right there. B, build your home base. C, communicate regularly. I'm going to say that weekly is best. D, deliver results with your core products and programs. Now, throughout this module, I've listed the core trainings in Amplify Pro that you should review, or you should take on if you wish to take a deeper dive into the specifics. So if you want to, for instance, learn more about communicating regularly, I'm going to point you to some elements about social media and email. If you want to know more about building your home base, your website, I'm going to point you to training on what needs to go to your website. What are the check marks? What are the benchmarks to know that you got it dialed in right? What needs to go there? So once you go through and you go, well, man, okay, so I understand it, but how do I do that? Just know, hey, there's more stuff that's coming behind, and you can always reach out, and we're happy to jump on a one-to-one non-sales call with you. If you're not a client and you're watching this somewhere else, if you are a client, well, goodness, you have us on speed dial, I hope. And so we're always excited to jump on. And in the doing that, so many times there are questions that clients have, even non-clients have, and those questions turn into more training that we're able to develop and help other people. And so if you've got the question, other people probably have the question, go ahead and ask the question. It always is a win-win-win for you, for us, and for other people that eventually get served by some of the answers that are supplied. Okay, outline of the outline for each of those four. So we're going to walk through the ABCD. I'm going to clearly define what the ABCD means. I'm going to clearly tell you what it means to architect your framework. I'm going to clearly tell you what it means to build your home base. I'm going to clearly tell you what it means to communicate regularly. I'm going to clearly tell you what it means to deliver results with your core products and programs. After doing that, I'm going to clarify the objective metric to know that this area is done. So when we were looking at architecting your framework, that's a whole different module. When we were looking at that, I said that, hey, if you're really going to build a framework, part of building the path to move people from where they are to where they are designed to be, dream of being, destined to be, part of that needs to have objective milestones, clear checkpoints along the way to where they know they made it. Not a, oh, well, you've been working on this long enough, it's good enough. Or not, oh, well, I just really like this person, so I'm gonna mark it as done. No. It's got to be objective to where they clearly know they did it. I use the example in another training of Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. One of the markers there early on is have $1,000 in your emergency savings account. You've either done it or you haven't done it. You've either got $1,000 on some bank account or you don't. So what we're going to do here is clarify, how do you know that you have sufficiently architected your framework? How do you know that you have sufficiently built your home base? It's not that you're not going to make it better at some point, in the same way that you're not going to stop your emergency savings account at $1,000. At some point you're going to grow that thing more. It's not that you're going to Stop. But how do you know that you are at an objective metric that is, I want to call it good enough, not just good enough in the sense of like, oh, well, that'll do, but good enough to know, okay, I hit it. I can improve it, but like right now I'm solid. I need to work on something else and then I can come back to this. How do you know objectively that you are delivering results with core products and programs? So for each of these four, we're going to clearly define what the ABCD means. We're going to clarify an objective metric to where you know that area is done for now. And then I'm going to point you to some additional training that you can review that you have access to as part of Amplify Pro. So that's where this thing is headed. Okay, let's do it. A, architect your framework. Pro tip here is you don't just share information, you lead people towards transformation. Now, in the training module on architecting your framework, there's a whole, I think it's about an hour and 20 minutes of content on that. You can break it down. You can follow the timestamps on all of our training to where you can skip to the part that is most relevant to where you are at that moment. I said that you're not just selling facts and figures. You are taking people on a journey of somewhere they really want to be. Now, that might be an elusive result or a goal that has evaded them, such as losing weight. It might be a new skill, such as playing the guitar or taking pictures. It might be an internal transformation. So it could be mental or emotional health, mental or emotional healing. It could be perspective to live differently. So how do they move on? For example, these are just examples. These aren't the only ones that fit into this. You could probably look at all of these and go, all right, which one best suits me? And there may be some overlap between these. Perspective to live differently might be life after someone close to them, a spouse or a loved one has died. Or how do you move forward after divorce? Even perspective to live differently, it might even be a happy thing. How do you move forward after having a new baby? I mean, for goodness sakes, talk about a life-changing deal that the gravity that they treat it with at the hospital is pretty much the same as walking into the mall, buying a pair of shoes. Okay, here you go. They send you home with a little box of shoes in a bag, and a baby's not much bigger than a box of shoes. But oh man, perspective to live differently. What about new habits or a new way of living? So if you're teaching time management, you're teaching money management, you're teaching budgeting, investing, or you could be increasing their knowledge, accelerating the learning curve. That's what Amplify is doing right here. It's increasing your knowledge. It's helping you work through some of the things that it took us about a decade or more to learn, and we're still learning. So we're all still growing on this together. The point is, look at that slide. You're not just imparting information. You are sharing information that takes people, because the information is ordered in such a way to take them on a journey down a path with progress points towards transformation. So that said, remember the four framework must-haves that we outline in architecting your framework. Number one of four, potential. You need to clearly tell people the destination, the place that you take them. Number two, you need to define the problem. That is the issue you solve. That is the big thing that is keeping them back from their potential. I think a lot of times people say, well, why am I not selling more stuff? Or why aren't people taking action? Or why aren't people walking into the doors of my counseling service? Or why aren't people engaging in my Facebook group? Or why aren't people buying my product or program? A lot of it comes down to these two right here. They don't know clearly where you would take them. They just know you're a life coach. Well, what kind of life coach? What's the outcome? What are they going to learn from your coaching? That goes back to these on the list right here with the mountain. What mountain are you helping them scale? They don't know where you're taking them, and you've not clearly defined the problem. They know what the problem is, or they may see, sense, or feel something's not quite right, but when you articulate it, it's like, oh, that's it. When you start articulating these two, that brings people in closer. Now, if you're looking at the screen, you see we got a big gap there. The person on the left side, the potential where they want to be is on the far right side. There is a big gap in the middle. That is the problem. You are going to build number 3 of 4 in the framework, a path to move them from where they are now to that preferred location, which is their potential. It is going to be a path that we talked about in other training that is clearly articulated. It is something that is guaranteed if the average person who is qualified for your program takes those steps, it will lead them across. They will make progress, and you are going to give them on that path, number 4 of the must-haves of the framework, progress points that show them that they are gaining ground. Let's say that they are gaining. I'm going to type this in on the slide. They are gaining ground. They're moving in the correct direction. And again, as we've alluded to several times already, these need to be objective in nature so that people clearly know when they have made significant movement, and you are going to help them celebrate each of these. So look at the screen there, flags, progress points, checkpoints, check markers, whatever you want to call them across that path. They are the indicators that forward movement is occurring. And then, we say there's 4 must-haves. I did toss in on the training this 5th. I said, it might also be helpful, just illustrated by the poop emoji right there, to clarify the pits, the stuck points that they will likely face, just so they know that on the journey, there is going to be trouble along the way, and they don't get frustrated, or they don't get confused, or they don't think, well, oh no, I thought this was going to be like easy peasy. You just let them know, hey, when you bump into some friction, that's expected. Here's what to do. And you know that path well enough right now to where okay, you bump into some friction. Here's how to address the friction. Just keep moving forward. By the way, a module to review on this is how to create a framework. That will go into all of this, part A, a whole lot more, oh gosh, in great, great, great detail. Pro tip here, once you've clarified at least the first 4 of the 5 above. Now remember, the first 4 are required. They are the must-haves. They are the essentials. Don't try to say that you have a framework if you don't have those clearly articulated. Once you have the first 4 of the 5, the pits, the poop, that's, up to you, optional. But when you have that 4, you've got the outline that you need for a book, for a course, for coaching, for a podcast, for a blog, for live events. This content can be packaged and repurposed in numerous ways. In fact, at that point, you've got everything you need to hit the ground running and to keep going and blowing, I would say even for years. This can be the thing that you are known for. In fact, we always have, and say this, a counterintuitive approach anytime that we're talking to someone new. I tell them always, 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 always start with the book. A lot of content creators, a lot of thought leaders, a lot of communicators, a lot of idea people, even pastors and trainers, they say, I thought about at some point in the future, I'd like to write a book. And I say, oh, no. Don't aspire to one day write the book. Start with the book. Here's why. Here's why you need to do it, even if you don't intend to publish it. Writing the book is the best way to articulate everything in your framework and have it all organized. When you write, there's something about that process that causes you, especially if you just go, okay, you're freeing yourself up and go, it's just got to be a rough draft. Doesn't have to look completely pretty, doesn't have to have all the typos gone, doesn't have to be smooth, all the verbs don't have to be in the right tenses. An editor can clean that stuff up later on. Doesn't have to have all graphics and all that kind of stuff. Once you have everything articulated and have it organized in a systematic way, you've got everything that you need. It is in order. It is clear. It is in one place. And if you don't write the book first, you got to go back and you got to create this content anyway for everything else that you'll do. You got to come up with content for social media posts. You got to come up with content for little videos and lives and reels. You got to come up with content for a blog or a podcast. You got to come up with content for a live event. You got to come up with content for when somebody asks you to give a talk. You got to come up with content for brochures and for websites and for sales pages and for emails. And here's what I'm saying. If you have it in a book, you have everything that you need at that point, even if it's just a rough draft. You got everything you need, and it's all organized to do literally all of those other things. The big untapped superpower that you have as the content creator is the ability to repurpose everything if you have it in a book. All right, so I hope I've sold that concept to you. Here's a graphic that I'm going to drop in about the stairs and repurposing content. Notice if you got the book right there, number 7, you've got everything that you need to create a course. That's number 8. Coaching, that's number 9. To create a membership group, that's up the line. That's number 10. Look at if you got a book, number 7. Oh, it's easy to go give a number 5, a series of talks. In fact, here's the way you could think about these stairs. When you have one of these in place, everything below that number is easier because of what's higher. Everything that's higher is just it's like walking stairs. Sometimes you can jump 2 or 3 if you're running stadiums or something, but really just taking one at a time is easy. So you look at this, it's easy to make a course if you have a book. It's easy to do coaching if you have a course because you've got the objective elements that people can watch, and then you could talk through them with the subjective elements. We'll talk about that in another module. Repurpose your content, articulate your framework first, and do it ideally. Okay, bonus if it's in a book form. All right, what are the objective metrics to know that A is in place? The objective metrics to know that you have sufficiently architected your framework. Here it is. Frameworks have got to have objective milestones. Okay. And so the objective milestones, just like the framework for building a framework has objective milestones. So to know that, you have architected it. You have clearly articulated, and I mean, you've written them down. That might just be in a couple sentences, but you have clearly clarified the potential. That is the destination. It is a clearly defined place you take people. You have clearly stated the problem you solve. That is the thing. That's the big gap keeping them back. You have clearly identified a path to move them from where they are now to that preferred location of their potential. You have identified progress points along that path. Just in the other training, we say you only need 4 to 7. In fact, if you've got more than 7, you got too many. If you need at least 3, I think 3 is great. I have several that have 3, 4, 5 is ideal, but you need these progress points along the path to show them they're heading in the right direction. These need to be objective, so people clearly know when they have made significant movement. And then you might also want to clarify the pits, the stuck points that they will likely face, just so they know to expect them and then move forward. And all of this, I would say, a big bonus points, plural bonus points, if you ideally have your framework articulated in a rough draft of a book. Doesn't have to be published. Just be a rough draft. Now, I didn't even put this in the training on the next slide, where I'm going to give you suggested next steps to dive deeper. But I'll tell you this. If you want to write the book, we've got this course, Making and Marketing Your Book. I tell people a lot of times books are not so much written as they are made or constructed or assembled. That will show you how to get that rough draft out quick, especially if you have answered and articulated these 5, the potential, the problem, the path, the progress points, and the pits. All right, so modules to review for A, I would go, whoa, I got 7 right here. I'd go look at 4 things you need to create your framework. That's another module that goes onto this, a deeper dive. I've referenced that already. I would go to why you need to create core values immediately. I would look at the module on how to write a book. I would look at infinite ROI. That is a module we have that helps you find your unique voice, especially when people are teaching something that is a similar topic to you. You still have a voice. I would look at the module on how to coach clients so they make real progress. That's going to help you lead people through the framework. I would look at how to increase your revenue, how to grow your reach, how to build your reputation. That is another module. And then I would look at how to architect your funnel. So you've got how to, first one, how to create your framework, and then also how to create the overall funnel that leads people forward. What you're going to learn in how to architect your funnel is that you can teach the same core content, the same framework at every price point available, whether it is in a book that's a low ticket, whether it's a mini course that's kind of a slightly bigger ticket, or whether it's one-to-one coaching and consulting, keynote speeches, masterminds, all of those higher ticket elements. Okay, that is A. Let's move on. B. Hey, this is Andy. I want to take a break from the podcast here and invite you to follow the links down in the show notes. There you will find the URL that will take you where you can download the Infinite ROI Workbook absolutely free. This is the printed document. It's in a PDF form. Share that with your team. Use it for yourself to get your messaging dialed in, to get that right. So many people struggle with this. I've been so frustrated figuring out, how do I articulate what we do? How do I explain it to people in such a way that it makes sense to where they know if it's a fit for them, and then they can take action? And so this document has really been extremely helpful for us. We struggled for years. People would ask the question, what do you do? And we just stand there confused thinking, well, it's really kind of how much time do you have? How do you explain it? And there's no way that you can serve people at the highest level unless they know how you can serve them. And so take advantage of that PDF. Again, it is down there below for you. If you want to accelerate the learning curve and move beyond, I don't want the document. I actually want you to walk me through this. There's a link below for the course as well. Again, whether you want the free option and do it on your own, or whether you want the paid option and take advantage of the course where I talk you right through it, all of the links down there are below to help you grow and reach greater levels of success while serving people at a higher level, and absolutely, I guarantee you, doing it with far less stress.